do? Oh, that's wrong. Close it. I hit end broadcast. I'm sorry. I hit it wrong. Fix it.
Okay.
Fix it. Do it again.
You're good.
Oh, God. Jesus, what did I do?
It's pre-recorded, so I can. Don't worry about it.
Christ.
Maybe again. It's pre-recorded.
Oh, just keep going. Oh, okay. Dang it all. Tell the truth, shame the devil. So, welcome to Cha-Cha's World. Episode 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, being with my sister, Deidre. 2, being with my bestie, Melanie. And 3, being with my friend, Darren Coles, is going to be with me today. And I am going to start by saying thank you to everyone that has shown me any love, any support, given me any of your time. Cha-Cha's World is something that I've been wanting to do for a very long time. And it is here. It is growing. I'm learning a lot of things that are 100% new to me. I have outstanding support from my family and friends and beyond. And we're just going to forge forward and we're going to keep it moving. And this thing is going to be whatever God created it to be. Because it's not just my creation. It is also God's creation. And so I'm extremely excited. As in all things, like, follow, share, and subscribe. I am on Instagram under It's Cha-Cha's World. So please like that. I am on Facebook, Cha-Cha's World. And then also on YouTube for Cha-Cha's World. And so I'm currently in the middle of doing my soft launch. And we will be doing my full launch in the very near future. But let me tell y'all, this has been a ride. This is Cha-Cha's World is all about transparency. So my transparency is I am, even now as I'm sitting here doing this, I have a level of nervousness that is over me, but we're going to forge forward and keep it moving. I have been getting better and looking, and I've gotten great feedback from people that care about me, that has said, Cha, have you considered this? Have you looked into this? And I cannot say thank you enough to those individuals that took the time to listen, to look at what I could do different going forward, and to share that with me instead of talking in the background. And so once again, we are here. My previous shows, my first show, as I mentioned, I did with my sister, Miss Deidre Shantae. For those that do not know, and everybody does not know her, she is the co-owner of Relax. And so my January 1st show, that's when I officially launched. That was my goal, and that was a big deal for me. She talked about her business and being starting a business in the middle of coronavirus, and talking about aesthetics and all things that come with the field of being an esthetician. Because I wanted to introduce everybody to her, because I'm going to do everything under the sun that I could possibly do to support my sister and anybody else in my family and my friends. And my next show was with my best friend, Melanie, and she is one of my rocks. I have a couple of rocks, but she's definitely one of them. I call her my OD. She knows what it stands for. Actually, I tell everybody, she's my original diva. And so she came on and we talked about perfect imperfection. Talked about how all of us are unique. Talked about living in your purpose, being comfortable in your skin from your hair down to your toes, and not trying to be anyone else. That's what perfect imperfection is. And taking ownership of that. Not looking left, right, up or down, and knowing that the way that you were created is more than enough on any given day. And so that is what we discussed. So if you did not have the opportunity to take a look at my previous shows, please go back and look at them and stick with me. Stick with me. I promise where I am today is not where I'm going, although I don't know where I'm going, but it's going to be something great. And I'm excited that you're going to take this journey with me. Today's topic is going to be outstanding because this is something dear and precious to me. I work in insurance, and I know the importance of insurance, but I do not work in the level of insurance or the kind of insurance that I am going to have my guest coming on today to talk about. I have a friend, and his name is Darren Coles. And Darren is my friend from the Loop. Anybody who does not know what the Lou is Louisa County, Virginia. The Lou, that's where all of my roots are, friends and family, and a lot of my childhood history. And that's where we connected. He works in life insurance. He works for New York Life, and he is my insurance agent. So he keeps me secure in the case that the Lord has plans earlier than I anticipate. Then he has helped me secure all the things that I need to secure financially to make sure that my children and those that I love are taken care of. And so we often talk about these GoFundMes. GoFundMes, God bless GoFundMe's heart. People need GoFundMes. I'm not saying GoFundMes are not needed. What I am saying is, forging forward, we all made it out of 2020. We all experienced the same thing with the corona and are still experiencing the same thing with the coronavirus. Moving forward, we're going to do things better. We're going to be more prepared. We're going to be more responsible. We're going to be more proactive in reference to the things that are our responsibility. And so, in an effort to help people understand life insurance, I asked Darren to come on and we're going to talk. And when Darren and I talk, it's not like two people, it's not a regular interview because we know each other very well. I respect him, he respects me, and we're going to get this thing done. And my goal for this show is for his phone to ring. I need people to call him for consultations, call him with questions beyond this show. And for people that have kind of delayed, because we're almost 50, I'll be 48 this year. This is something that we're not going to look at here. The older you get, the more expensive it gets. That I do know for certain. And so I'm going to bring him on, my buddy. Give me a second. Hold on. Mr. Darren Coles.
Hey!
I did it.
Oh my God.
I did it. Let's celebrate this moment. I see you.
Listen, I have and had all the confidence in the world that you was going to make it happen.
And you always make me feel special. I appreciate that. And you've always encouraged me. Let me say this publicly on Chat Talk. You have encouraged me at times when I was concerned about my ability to even take this leap. You saw the leap before I even I wanted to do it, but I was afraid. And you know you've been pushing me way over a year, probably been longer than 2 years. Tell the truth, shame the devil.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a good while. So I thank you because you have really been a great encourager in my life, sincerely. Well, and I hope I do the same for you.
Oh yeah, I mean, listen, yeah, we're friends, and there in my journey and building a practice here in New York Life is people as close to me like you that encourage me. Obviously, not only do I want to, be able to help people, buy products, but you want to have an impact on the community.
Yes.
You have a passion for our community just as I do, and that kind of gets me through. Has gotten me through. And sometimes I might call you out of frustration, but I know you'll patch me on up and tell me what I need to do. Yeah, get on back out there again. As far as you go, man, I can see who and what you are, and but people love you. People are just attracted to you and just kind of just drawn to you. You don't necessarily realize to what extent, but I can see it for you, right? And it does well that your heart is always in the right place. So for me, no one is going to be happier than me than once you kind of get where you want to go.
Well, let's go, because we both going places and we both got purpose per God.
Absolutely.
Let's go with this. Okay, so we're going to start with the thing we always talk about on the side. GoFundMe. And what we see, I'm going to start and we're just going to piggyback. We're going to ride this thing together. As I said, GoFundMes are necessary and I respect them. But I think by the time you hit our age, and we're pretty much the same age, and once you at least get to the age of accountability, and you have a family and you start procreating and creating other human beings and getting prepared for this adult world, then there's some things you should have or look to have in place that oftentimes, from what I see, we don't have in place. And it's not a priority, and it should be. And so tell the truth. Everything is tell the truth, and we're going to shame the devil today.
Well, absolutely. I got a lot of truth.
Tell me, first and foremost, what attracted you to your opportunity with New York Life and becoming an agent? Because you could do anything. You can be anything. But this is what you do, and I know you're passionate about it. Why is that?
I realized a long time ago that if our community was going to change, we got to change it, right? So for me, I haven't always been who I am. You know, in the early 90s, things weren't going the way I wanted them to go out of high school. I kind of was in that little lost space, started selling drugs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've lived that life, right? I know what it's like to be kind of out there, you know, in a bad
Trying to
place.
figure it out.
Yeah. And I've never had to see the inside of a penitentiary before all that happens. Things happen in life, and I find myself in the military. And then that doesn't work out. Not because, for health reasons, though, not because I was in trouble or anything, but because I had some health issues, right? And when I've always been a people person. And then I found myself working for Coca-Cola for 13 years.
Yeah.
And I'm making good money. But then I started going to school. And when I went back to college, I was like, well, I realized that I had something else that I should be doing. Yeah. And then when Coke laid me off, it's like at first you think, Lord, I done lost a $60,000 a year job.
Mm-hmm.
What in the world am I going to do? Because I haven't finished school yet. How am I going to make some money, right?
I understand.
And then I went to work a few jobs, but the one job that I took temporarily led me to Wells Fargo. My manager liked me, thought I'd be a good banker, thought I could handle the business well. So I went to Wells Fargo, and I was there for 3.5 years. And then I connected with a friend that I hadn't seen in years. And I had to help him with his account. And he was like, he thanked me. I got him, saving him some money. And he said, man, listen, with the level of service you give, with all the things you're doing, you're involved in, you'd be better off at New York Life than you are at Wells.
Why don't you do it?
Oh, yeah, he definitely will do it. So then I had multiple companies come at me. But New York Life to me was the opportunity. Not just because you can make money in insurance, but because they're the only insurance company with an African-American market, where we have a division that caters directly and only to our market.
Okay.
And no other company offers that. The history wasn't great starting out, and that I don't think any company that started in the 1800s got clean hands when it comes to our community, right?
No,
Yeah.
but it's right. It is history.
But when you look at New York Life, they don't run from it. They acknowledge that it was one of the worst times.
Yeah.
We have a gentleman named Cirilio McSween, who was actually the first African-American agent in New York Life. Wow. So he opened the door for all of us. And Mr. McSween actually took care of the treasury and the money for Dr. King and the civil rights movement. He was basically a millionaire, but he was the first. His history wasn't great, but New York Life acknowledges that it wasn't great. So I'm proud to represent them now because they do things so much different.
Let me ask you this. Let me tell you my experience with health insurance, because oftentimes people, and I'm glad I have you, but I'm going to be the novice of all of this, because really that's what I am. You come to me and I'm asking you all kinds of questions. Because I don't know. So I come to you because I don't know. Absolutely. And so I know from me modeling, and the modeling that I received from my parents, and it's more of observation modeling, not sat down at a table and broke it all the way down. It's just trying to model how they handled their lives. is why I always believed in life insurance and I always invested in it, whether it was through my employer or whether it was through a different organization. What is it that you think, what makes people not appreciate, not seek out, why is it not mandatory? Now, this is what I believe. Like, unlike car insurance, you get fined by the DMV if you don't have car insurance.
But
So you can have the car if you want to. But if the DMV catch you, you're going to be fined. And it's not a cheap fine. Nobody's going to fine you because you don't have life insurance. Nobody's going to fine you if you don't have health insurance. I mean, you know the repercussions from it. But what's the thing that you get back when you talk to people? What do they say?
Most of it boils down to selfishness, to be honest with you, right?
And the devil again.
So sometimes people just don't have the money, right? And I get that, right? They don't feel like they can afford it. But more than they can afford it, they haven't really sat down with anyone to find out what it costs either, right? And if you do that, then you'll realize that it's more affordable than they can understand, right? Mm-hmm. But some of it comes to selfishness. And I've literally spoken to people that said, I'm going to be gone.
Tell the truth, shame the devil.
And they don't care. I'm not trying to make nobody rich. I ain't trying to leave nobody rich, right? And sadly, us and the Hispanics, we the only ones that think like that, right? So here's the issue for me, right? I don't care how much money you got. It does not make sense not to have life insurance, right? So watch this. I'm gonna kind of take care of all aspects.
Okay.
If you're rich and you make more than 120,000 as a single person or more than 186,000 as a married couple, guess what? You can't. If you're looking to grow money, then we need a tax-free way to grow some money.
Okay.
That's what falls into a tax-free bucket of growing wealth. Life insurance. Yes. You can build it in a way to build tax-free money that you can use in supplement retirement and financial planning. And if you have a company like New York Life who has a 167 year of paying dividends, then that's an amazing place for you to be able to grow some money safely and be able to get a decent return without risk of market loss. Now, if you don't have any money, as much as we talk about reparations on Facebook,
come on now.
At this point, we should have been able to be our own reparations. So the reason this thing doesn't work is every time somebody died, you got $20,000, $30,000 policy. It took 10 to 20 to bury you. You left 10,000 with no knowledge of financial literacy. You spend that in a month, and next thing you know, we are not using it the way it needs to be.
That's right.
So if we were to do what we're supposed to do, properly insure ourselves totally, and then you wouldn't be able to leave enough money so no matter what happens, we're leaving legacy wealth. So for instance, when you and I really started working together, it's been a few years ago. Yes. But let's just say your kids are older now. Let's say I met you and your son. How many years between your son and daughter? How many years?
8.
So let's just say for pretend's sake, I met you when your son was 8 and your daughter was just born.
Okay.
Right? Now when I'm talking to you about insurance, and let's just say you're married to their dad, I'm looking at a woman, I'm talking to you and your husband, I'm like, listen, what's on your mind? I'm trying to gauge where you are. What is important? If you're working in whatever industry, you might make 50,000. Your husband might make whatever. Let's say he makes the same. Both of y'all make $50,000 a piece. Now my questions are, what do you guys want for your family? Do you want the children to go to college? If you want them to go to college, do you want them to have college loans like you, or you want to leave enough if something happens they can pay for it? Then my question becomes to the spouses, how much of your income do you want to leave the surviving spouse if something happens? Mm-hmm. So then we look at what is a safe rate of return that we can guarantee for the most part that will spit off 50,000. So it takes about $1 million with a safe rate of return being about 4% that you can spit off 50,000 like you know your name. It never ends. It just spit off 50,000. Then you say, do you want to replace your house? Do you want to pay the mortgage off? Do we need to leave enough to raise children? So realistically, to say that a person has a $1.5 million insurance need is not really that far fetched. But if you leave $1.5 million, what does that do? You can buy real estate. You can take business opportunities. You can create wealth in your family, and you don't have to keep on saying what we don't have, why we don't have, and being at the bottom of the financial barrel if we properly insure ourselves.
That's what I was going to say. It's like each generation doesn't have to start over.
Yes, and we shouldn't. And I don't care. I don't care what anybody says. Yeah, we were slaves for 400 years. If the person want to argue with me talking about we've been down for over 400 years, then that means we never gonna get together. If that's always the answer, that means at some point, with all this technology, with all these woke folk out here, with everybody that think they know everything, at some point I shouldn't have to be arguing with you about why you need me, right? So I'm going to tell you the solid truth. I belong to some groups online, these black coalitions and all these, but blackity, black, and all these groups, right?
Not just blackity, black, they're black and educated.
Yeah, and that, right. So
educated.
Now, as my client, that New York Life is the largest mutual insurance company in the country, 73rd on the Fortune 5. Have the highest rating that you can get from the companies that rate us, and over 27 billion in surplus money. That means we can meet every financial obligation that the company has, and if we had to start over, that's 27 billion to do it. So we're a very financially sound company, right?
Yes.
So I'm going to all these black groups because we're talking about helping our community. Obviously, if I have a need to help the community, I want to go into it, right? For the last 2 years, I post online. I got a seminar once a month, free. You don't have to obligate yourself to buy anything from me. I'm talking about budgeting, financial planning, building wealth, accumulation, credit, and everything that affects our community.
Yes.
If I got 1 or 2 people a month that look like us to show up, I done had a good month.
Yeah.
I'm begging us to show up. And yet we're having blackouts talking about we're not going to shop somewhere on July the 7th. And because unless it's a black business owner, white people don't care about that. White people don't care about it because they know we don't have the resources to only shop black. And we will never be at the place where we want to be because we don't have enough common sense as a collective to support us, keep money in our community, do what we can do, and educate ourselves to really move forward financially. So when I show up to talk about life insurance and investment and growing wealth, they looking at me like, I show up when I want to show up. Like, so for out of 12 months last year, I may have 10 people come attend my seminars, and that's every month. That's for 12 months. That's unacceptable. Then we're dying without life insurance.
Yes.
You're dying without knowledge. You're dying without the resources, which I give a lot of those things away for free. Not just because I got it going on like that, but because I don't want a person not to have money to be a reason you can't come to me and get information. And that's where we are. And that's the frustrating piece for me.
Let me ask you this. You talk about this briefly, and we're not going to get too long-winded with it, but I do want to touch on it because I know it's important. I have my policy. I have a whole life policy, and then I have a term policy. And then I have a policy for Jordan, and then I also have a policy for Carlos. Everybody in my house insured because I get it. So oftentimes people, they think about life insurance, they think about old people. They think about, I don't know, I think it's something with life insurance that make people, I guess it's because in everybody's mind, normally you think that you're going to transition when you're older, when anybody with any common sense knows that you know not the day, nor the hour, but when God will you come. And so to not be prepared for that, what do you say in that regard to that situation?
I just think that people don't take it serious. And what I try to do is I try to put myself back in 20-year-old Darren's mind frame. 20-year-old Darren was off the chain. And I had life insurance do work, but I didn't have what I have now. Okay. Yeah. At the same time, I didn't have anybody to explain it to me either. So some people just don't. They think they have time, but they don't understand what they need to qualify for this world here.
Yep.
So here's the problem with the whole scenario of life insurance. You don't need money to qualify for life insurance. You qualify for life insurance with age and health. When you wait until something happens, you're not going to be able to get it. So my world is based on age and health. Yes, you need to be able to afford it, but I need you to qualify for it, not when you're unhealthy, but when you are healthy. Yes. Right? So what people want to do is they say, well, they want to call and get a quote, and then they see people at 30 get insurance for $10. Then you want to call me at 60 thinking you're going to get $500,000 of insurance for under $100. And the devil is lying to you all day long, right? And so because you're not prepared, it's not going to work. What I encourage people to do is take it out on their children. Yes, most of us will have 50,000, 100,000 on their children, but I have different techniques that I use.
Yes.
That leaves. I just put somebody in a product that I call the $1 Million Baby, right? So what the $1 Million Baby does is I'm taking all your premiums and I'm paying it up in about 15 years. So by the time the child is 15 is paid, I let it cook a little bit. Mm-hmm. The $1 Million Baby is based on this scenario is a little bit under $1 million, but I based on a $300 a month premium, which isn't outrageously high. By the time you get to 15, 16 years old, you paid about $54,000 into the premium, right? Okay. Now, at 18, I'm showing you how you can take money out. So if you want to give a child a college gift, I'm pulling out $25,000 in tax-free money and saying, congratulations, thanks you for getting your grades and going to college. And that's a little bit of head start to get you going. You want to buy a car, whatever you want to do. Yeah. And then about 35, I'm going to pull out another $29,000. And if you want to buy your first house, you got some money, you can do that. Now, guess what? That's every dime that the person that put in the policy, I'm giving back to you in cash. And now you have no more risk in this policy that's still living. Now, you're going to live till you retire. You get your retirement age at 70 years old. I'm going to let that policy pay you, how much is that thing paying? $22,000 a year until you're 90. So for people that don't have Social Security, now I've created a bucket of Social Security for the child. So now that's another $400,000 in lump and money that's going to be paid out over 20 years to supplement retirement. And I've given you the other monies. And by the time you die, with the death benefit still going to leave $300,000 to $400,000, that's basically $54,000 turned into almost $1 million in coverage. Now, you got to be able to afford it. And if you can't afford that, I still have something, but that leaves wealth.
Exactly. This is my view regarding people being able to afford things. Tell the truth, damn the devil. People want to afford. People afford things they shouldn't even be buying all day, every day. So for me, what it comes down to is priorities. Where is the priority? We have to do better at being disciplined. We have to do better in caring. Some things, like, for example, I don't even know when I first got introduced to life insurance, but I've been investing in it or utilizing it or paying into it for a very long time. It amazes me for people our age that are sitting around here drinking, living. That's dangerous within itself. Driving, traveling, doing whatever it is that you do. Technically, you can take all those things out. You don't have to do anything for tomorrow not to be guaranteed. So what I was saying is this. I hope from my show, my goal, and I'm looking at you, I need somebody to call you. I need somebody to call you and have a serious discussion, because the thing about this is and tell me if I'm right. You have a consultation. I need to know where you need to know where we are. You need to know what we can afford. Like you said, if I can't do $1 million, my understanding is on average, the average funeral, a good funeral, not a pine box funeral, not a
But
crematorium funeral, on average, 10,
about 15, not about 15,000.
10,
I,
15.
I, I would say this. I buried about my grandmother, my uncle. I buried quite a few people in 2020.
Okay.
And they had smaller policies. So, but they were in place before I got into my business.
Okay.
Now, my grandma, you talking about $11,000 for the funeral.
Okay.
If you want a headstone and all that other good stuff, you want about 15,000.
Okay.
Just to make sure I got everything I need. Right now, guess what? If that's all you can afford, at least get that. At least you're not leaving the family in debt. Right? $15,000 is hard. Let's say this: the smallest whole life we sell in New York like is 25 to an adult.
Okay.
A child as small as is 50.
Okay.
Once you get into your 40s, going into 50, the company acknowledges that some people can't afford what it costs. They will allow you to come under the minimum as long as you stay. The premium stays at an amount where the company says we would allow if you stay at this point. Usually that's around $40 a month for a permanent policy, right? But if you can get it cheaper than that, but you have to start with children. The difference between us and our counterparts,
Get a true shame devil.
when the baby is born, you can insure a child of 15 days old. Even if we say the smallest policy we sell, if it's a girl, you're talking about $23 a month. If it's a boy, you're talking about 25, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's for the rest of their life. So it don't matter if they have a heart attack, stroke, get HIV. It don't matter if they get diabetes. That policy will never end and never change the price as long as you make the premium.
Yes.
When they die, that policy is going to be worth about $250,000 in death benefit. If you start when they're born.
Early. Yes.
Now we go by Gerber. We won't go by Gerber because we're not looking at the benefit. We're looking at the cost. If you want,
and what they looking at that mailing that come in the mail.
Yeah.
Gerber baby.
And they're telling them that they can pay for college with it. And I got a friend that just talked to me 3 years later. She got this Gerber that's paid up, and I said, how much money is in it? Then I show her mine and how much money would have been in the same period of time. And she got upset. I said, you do answer the phone 3 years ago. You didn't want to answer the phone 3 years ago. You running from me, right? Listen, if we can change, I told you I had a way that Black people can get their own sales reparations.
Yeah.
Remember I told you that?
Yes.
Watch this. You can use insurance or insurance products to do it. But I said to myself, I could make every Black person in America a millionaire if every Black person gave me $20 for every person in the house. And somebody said to me, how could you do that? Here's the law. Here's numbers. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. White people are never giving us reparations. And if we get it, it's going to be a situation where they don't have a choice but to give it to us. And they are not there yet, right? Now, there are 350 million people in America. 13% of that is Black. So you're talking about 45 million Black people in the country. Everybody Black give me $20 per person. So in your house, I need 60, right? You give me $60. By the time everybody Black give me $20, I got about $900 million. I wouldn't give it all liquid. I could basically give 2.5 million liquid to every Black person in the country and take another 2.5 million and put it in an annuity that will spit off a lifetime of income that they couldn't mess up. And that will create generational wealth until they die. You still have the obligation to raise your family. And anybody that's not born yet, you need to leave them some money. I got to find a lawyer, somebody to kind of handle and be able to give everybody Black, take the money and spit the money out. That's where the rest of the money goes, pay administrative costs. But at the same time, tell me what that would do for your life. It costs you $60 to get back $5 million. And if you look at the numbers, it ain't but 45 million Black people in America. I got well more than enough to do that. The only problem will come out of it is, and I don't have the answer to, is people don't account for what we do in society. And when everybody Black don't go to work,
Yeah, I'm
Who gonna run these businesses out here? And that's the truth, man. But it's a good idea.
This is my hope. I'm gonna say it again. I'm gonna say it again. I'm gonna say it again. My prayer, because we're about to transition, I'm going to say this. I'm going to pray that somebody calls you. Please let people know how to contact you. Let them know what all of your contact information.
Listen, you can reach me at 804-683-6877. You can also go to newyorklife.com/agent/D Coles. That will take you to my personal webpage. And then if you want to contact me, you can see some of the things that I offer. And then you can leave your contact information and I can follow back up with you there. What I will say before I go is I don't want the reason that a person don't have to be, I don't have some money.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Give me a call and let's talk about what it is you want to do, what you want to accomplish, and let's get together to see what you can do.
Okay.
Even if you're not ready to buy insurance and if you're struggling with money management, you give me a call anyway and let's talk about how I can help you. Now, I will go out, I will work hard to try to change a person's financial health, but it can't be more important to me than it is to them. But if they really are serious about it, I will do all I can.
In Cha-Cha's world, we're focusing on being proactive and responsible.
That's
so
right.
You're not responsible really for anybody's. You are a resource. You are an opportunity for myself and anybody else to do better, to learn more, to do things better moving forward. We are forging forward. We are in 2021. 2020 is done, and we got a whole future before us. And whatever you did not do before 2021, we're going to do better. So I thank you. I love you with the love of the loop.
That's right. Well, listen, I always appreciate your support and everything that you do for me, child. And anything that I could ever do for you, you know the answer is always going to be yes. You just need to call me.
It's not your last time, baby. This your first time in 2021, but it's not your last time being in Cha-Cha's world.
Well, listen, I look forward to the next time, and then we'll talk soon.
All right, baby. Mwah. You know I got love for you.
All right.
All right.
Thank you so much.
All right, now that makes me so excited. Dance with me. So excited. We're going to do better. So excited. 2021. So excited. Identify the lie. Tell the truth. Shame the devil. If you don't have any life insurance, Darren is a personal friend of mine. Sincerely a personal friend. I would not be giving him my money monthly. Or New York Life is not him per se. You get my point. If I did not believe in what he does and how it's going to be a benefit to my family. And so from Cha-Cha's world to everybody that's listening, you know your personal finances, you know your personal situation, you know if you're insured, uninsured, you need more insurance, or if you have questions. Any of those things, please reach out to Darren and he will give you what it is that you need for your individual circumstances. I am going to say thank you. Please like, subscribe, share, and follow Cha-Cha's World. These 3 shows are just an example of what I am attempting to do. I am not up here for just entertainment. I'm never going to be up here talking about just a lot of the things that you may see on YouTube, on Facebook, and things that other people address. To each his own. I'm about upliftment and enlightenment. And when people get off my page, I want them to feel like I left them with something that they can use and that they can grow from. What's going on with my tongue? So until next time, Cha-Cha's World. Like, subscribe, and share. Cha-Cha's World on YouTube. It's Cha-Cha's World on Instagram and Cha-Cha's World on Facebook. Be blessed. Nothing.